What up, Spartans? It's Mr. L in Photoshop in full effect and ready to walk you guys through the zombie project. So open up your pictures so we can actually start working and you can start following along. So now that the picture's open in Photoshop, first thing we need to do is take our background image, drag it over to the right into that little sticky note that's next to the trash can, and then let go. That creates a copy of our image. The reason we're copying the image is that if we have a boo-boo, if we mess up, our original image is still intact, so we can recopy it and go back to work. It's a nice little backup plan. So now you've copied your image. Let's start adjusting the colors. So let's go to Image, Adjustments, do a little color balance. I want to preserve my shadows. I'm going to do that. I'm going to take it to the right a little bit, darken up the reds. I'm going to leave it at plus 14. I'm going to hit OK. So next step is we can start burning. Or if you want to go for that blind effect like we saw in the video, well, let's do the blind effect. So I'm going to press the letter L. Letter L activates the lasso tool. We're going to have to zoom in, so Command minus to zoom in, space bar to pull the picture back into effect. I'm going to let go of the space bar so my lasso shows up. And I'm going to lasso around the eyes to give that blind effect like we saw in the video this week. Now that's a cool thing. I have one eye selected. If I go over here, I lose my selection. How do you fix that? No big deal. Hold shift, come back to the other eye to create dual selections, and bam, my eyes are both selected. So what I want to do now is on the keyboard press Command C. That's going to make a copy, and I'm going to do a Command V to paste it back into the image. So now you notice that in our layers palette we have a layer number 1. That's actually our eyeballs. If you went through and turned off the background copy and the background itself, you would have floating eyes. Cool. So if I remember correctly, in order to do the eyes, I'm going to go into adjustments, I'm going to my levels, and I'm actually going to pull around with these bad boys. So I'm going to take the black to white, I'm going to take the white to black, maybe a little bit more on the output levels. I'm going to hit OK. Next, I actually want to layer mask these in. So I'm going to go into layer, layer mask. I'm going to do a hide off so they disappear. And I'm going to brush them in. So I'm going to press the letter B for the brush. I'm going to flip my colors around. So I'm going to press the letter X. So the colors in my toolbar just flipped around. And I'm going to start brushing in the white. Give them that blind effect. Like, oh, I don't know how terrifying or hard that'd be to be a blind zombie. I guess they would never catch you because they couldn't see you. It's like playing Marco Polo. So I'm going to color these bad boys in, give them that white effect. Increase my brush size. So to increase my brush size, the brackets next to the letter P will increase and decrease. So I can get that coverage going. And the one thing you guys want to remember when we're brushing in the colors, always use a soft brush, not the hard brush, man. We want to use a soft brush because it gives it more of a light effect when we're actually coloring in our masks, and it's more believable. It's a easier blend than to not have that option available. So I'm gonna press the letter X to flip my colors so I can fix in my mask a little bit, and it still stays at a soft brush, so I'm not worried about it too much. But it kind of adds to it. So I'm going to leave that as is. I'm going to do Command E. That merged my layers. So now that layer of the blind eyes is part of my background copy. So now let's start burning. Let's start creating those features. So I'm going to do a Command 0 to zoom out completely. Now remember, when we start doing the burn, we want to make sure we accentuate our cheekbones around the eyes, the things that would usually catch the skin when it's hanging down as you start to decompose. So the burn tool is found over here. I already have it active, but you notice the burn tool is right there. So off the bat, when you open up Photoshop, if you haven't used it for the day, your burn tool is the dodge tool. So you click and hold, click the burn tool to activate it. It's going to go with shadows. We're going to play with our midtones and our highlights. But for now, let's do a little bit of the shadows. Darken it up a little bit. I'm going to increase my brush size next to the letter P, those brackets. Yeah, that makes the brush size bigger. In Photoshop, you guys will realize as we start using it more, the keyboard is your best friend. Literally, it's your best friend. Because if you're doing an undo and you have to undo more than once, and you're doing a command option to Z to undo, then like I said, keyboard becomes your best friend. Like I'm about to do a command option Z right now because that was just too much. With my midtones, play with my midtones now, because all these ideas will help out with the zombie. And I can do it to her hair too to darken it up if I wanted to. Increase my brush size because that's just gonna make it a blendable idea. Do the arms down here because those are part of this scenario. You guys can tell as I'm doing my burn tool right now, I already have some of my textures and stuff on the side that I'm gonna mask in, so don't freak out. Let's get my highlights now. So the highlights will bring kind of like a reddish color into the picture, at least in certain parts of it. Bigger brush. So I'm liking where this is going. I'm gonna leave it as is. I'm gonna do Command 0 to zoom out. Actually, I don't even have to because it's down. I'm gonna copy my image again. So I'm gonna go down, click and drag, copy, and I'm gonna go image. I'm gonna go adjustments. I'm gonna go levels. And I actually want to darken this bad boy up, just like they did in the tutorial. So I'm gonna take it this way. Because now I can actually layer mask this in, which is I'm about to as I go into layer mask, hide all. Kind of vanishes, no big deal. Press the letter B, hit the letter X so I get my colors back. Increase my brush size so I can get some of these darknesses in there. Zombie shirt's just too white. I might have to come in and do something about that. Never seen a zombie with a bright, clean shirt. I just ate your brains, and it's clean. Like seriously, it's no big deal. That's why we have Photoshop. We have that little darkness going. Now let's apply some stuff, right? So we need to do a little something with the skin to make it decomposed. You guys saw me this week use the really nasty looking mouth, which I'll do that. So I'm gonna go down here. I have this little weird looking moldy texture. I'm gonna do a Command C. Go back to my picture. I'm gonna do a Command V. It's gonna take up the screen. That's no big deal. I'm gonna press V for my move tool. You guys see it activated up here, so I can move this bad boy around, get what I want in there. What I'm gonna do now is I'm actually gonna lower the opacity, just so I can see where I want to place this better. Because there's certain parts I could use more than others, so that looks about right. Let's bring this back up to normal. Let's see which one of our layer styles works out best. Do I want to multiply this? Do I want to do a color burn? And as we go through the project, this is going to be one of those hit or misses that, you might like it now, and as you keep working on it, it just doesn't work out for you. Don't worry about it. That's part of the project. So kind of like the way the overlay looks. Look, I can lower the opacity down a little bit too. Okay, 48. I wanted 50, but 48, right? So I'm going to go to layer. I'm going to go layer mask. I'm going to hide it all. It's going to go away. I'm going to press the letter B, and then I can actually start brushing in some of these ideas, some of these colorful rednesses that were part of that overlay. You're probably going, well, Mr. L, dude, I don't see you doing much of anything. Let's zoom in. And my brush is at 30%, so if I press the letter 5, it puts it at 50, so you can see a little bit more. I know people will start saying stuff. It's okay. So you can start seeing how this applies to it. I'm gonna almost gives like that scorched look. And you never know what the zombie's been through, right? Maybe they were scorched. And the bigger the brush diameter, the different the blend or the harder the blend. It's not too life-threatening. I just flipped my colors around because I wanted to brush some of it out. So, should I go rock texture? Let's go mouth. So this mouth, I'm going to do a Command C, go back to my zombie and do a Command V. It takes over the whole screen, so I'm going to zoom out by going Command minus. I'm going to go Command T so I can transform it. Shrink it down, bring it over, zoom back in, Command 0. I'm going to hold Control and click, and I'm going to flip it horizontally so that the picture is now kind of in the right direction. Obviously that's a huge mouth, so we still have to shrink it. And then we have to adjust it. So I'll hit enter for the time being. I'm going to lower my opacity so I can kind of get a better mouth placement. Still a little big, so I'll do a Command T once again. Shrink it down. And don't worry, it doesn't have to be perfectly matched up with the nose. The idea is that we want to use this weird looking mouth idea. So I'm going to hit enter, raise up my opacity. Can I do this? Do one of these things? Yeah, I could. Do I want to? Like I said, now that we go into it, it's one of those hit or misses. Do we want to? Do we not want to? Does it work? What feel am I going for? So I'll leave it at this. I'm going to go with overlay again. I'm going to leave it at put it at 70. So I'm going to go up to layer, layer mask, hide all. It goes away. I'm going to press the brush, so letter B, and I'm going to start to brush in this crazy little mouth. So zoom in. And if the opacity level just isn't working for you, you know, just go back and change it. It's not set in stone. It's like you can barely see that I've done much of anything here. So let's bring this back to 100. Let's switch this from overlay to normal. And that's that. We'll always want to make sure we're in there. Our layer arrangement can also affect it, so I want to put this down here. And then just start brushing it in. And if you're not liking it, like I said, it's a hit or miss sometimes. It's kind of hard to tell how much of that nastiness I gave into it. But that's the general idea of our zombie project. We're going to be using the burn tool, using our masking techniques. We want to make the zombie eyes, and we'll be using the lasso tool and some of the image settings. But that's your crash course. It's not like you haven't seen it before, but if you have any questions, you have this video to watch over, and you have me to ask in person. So get to zombieing. It's been fun. See you guys later.